Downton Abbey, the grand finale, 2025. Until the Downton Abbey 2019 movie, I knew little about this historic drama, except quite a few Americans were taken with it, and I've looked it up now, and I see that it was a hit television series, starting in 2010, first on ITV, 15 years ago, and it was funded also by PBS, and started screening in the USA in early 2011. It's set in Yorkshire, and I'm not sure why that is because it's filmed in Hampshire. Um, I heard an interview with the owners of Highclere Castle, a Grade 1 listed building that was constructed in 1679. It's surrounded by gorgeous parkland, and this radio interview was with Lady Carnarvon, who is one of, well, with her husband, I believe, the owners of the place. Now, I've seen the whole trilogy of films now because there was the 2019 first Downton Abbey movie, then there was Downton Abbey: A New Era in 2022, and I've forgotten a lot of the details about those two films, but I think it's standalone, this film. Um, there's a lot of history, and that's what appeals about the film and all of the films, but given as this was, set in 1930, it opens with, um, a theatre in Soho, Piccadilly, and it's a play by Noel Coward, and, it's, called Bittersweet, and the key people from Downton Abbey are watching it and enjoying it, and they really like Noel Coward, and he was, associating with many of the, upper class people of that time. Um, I mean, 1930, it was just after the Wall Street crash, and, well, there were some real draconian attitudes of, I mean, the first clear one is towards divorce, because the following is probably a day later or soon after the, theatre event, there's this ball at Lady Petersfield's place, and there's all this information that's been going out in the press that's just happened about Lady Mary being divorced and her decree 90 having come through, and Lady Petersfield objects to this a lot, and she asks her to leave, and it's like a serious matter. The only people who seem to be willing to defend Lady Mary are her parents and the rest of the Crawfords clan. But it sets up what is going to happen in this particular episode, because there's all this negative attention because Lady Mary is about to inherit the estate, and um, her parents are stepping down from running the place and they want to move into a smaller place. There's also, because of the financial problems of the Wall Street crash, um, they are considering selling their place in London. So there's this matter, there's all this stuff, the divorce in high places narrative coming out about the press. And there's Americans, there's a couple of Americans who come over and they don't see this divorce stuff. They see, oh, it's no biggie. I mean, because in the USA, it's um, people getting used to divorce and cultural trends usually do follow in the UK, as we're unfortunately finding now in reverse ways because of intolerance. But um, at that time, there's more tolerance of things that probably shouldn't matter. I mean, for start, I mean, I can't remember from the last episode whether, I mean, what it was, but it seems from all the discussion in this um, narrative of this film that it was simply Lady Mary's husband who decided to divorce her, and suddenly it's her fault. It's almost like blame the woman. It's like the misogynistic attitude. That's what comes across with this film. Um, Now, Noel Coward appears. He comes along. There's this character, Sam Sam Brook, I think. He's an American, and he sort of encourages Lady Mary in certain ways that um, before long she um, starts to regret and gets quite firmly annoyed with him about because he's actually trying to coerce her, and so there's all that happening. There's, I mean, the role of women was actually improving. There's like members of staff who were encouraged to get involved in other activities, and yet they brush up against problems. So there's quite a lot of things going on in this film that make it really interesting to watch. Seeing clash of old attitude and realizing times are changing. So there's both elements shown. I guess that's what it was like in 1930. I mean, we just been having the suffragette movement, women's voting rights were introduced um, during straight after the First World War, and improved in the late 1920s. There's this thing about selling Grantham House in London. There's like the possibility of moving, uh, get buying a flat instead and using that as a London residence. And Lady Mary's father, um, Lord, I can't remember his lord's name, but um, he he's like, what, sharing a building with strangers? I mean, this is the whole thing that it's like how the wealthiest 1% of the population live, all are privileged, and they probably don't really think about it's like for the rest of the population. And this kind of shows it to a strong extent. So I was thinking a bit about that. I know I've no particular interest and don't really have envy. I don't really see the point of huge amounts of wealth. I mean, it doesn't really interest me to earn shed loads of money, and all this idea that the billionaires are hoarding money and trying to hang on to it and reduce their tax burden, considering it's usually community that helps them get gain their wealth in the first place, and maybe they've just inherited it. In which case, even so, well, earning their wealth, they exist in society and certainly ought to contribute a lot to the running of a safe society. So, all those sort of thoughts cropping up. There's the cut glass accents, and it isn't just the UK. I mean, I've noticed this in some US films that they seem to have very similar accents, very received pronunciation. Even in America, it isn't just British upper class who talk with this very refined accent. I don't really know how they compare, but that's just my observations. Um, there was, oh gosh, the Noel Coward stuff. It was really interesting that he's like picking up on what's been happening with this divorce in high places, and he thinks that would be a great storyline. And that isn't met with total shock and horror. I d That's the impression I got, that it isn't met that way, but they probably are. I mean, it's probably that their privacy is invaded regularly anyway because of their, privileged position, and that's the trade-off. I don't really know, but, I started looking up a bit about Noel Coward, and I'd like to find out lot more about his life. I mean, he lived until 1973, so he he was born in 1899. So um, he had a huge influence. All the work he did through such a large proportion of the 20th century. Um, And I did see Blithe Spirit 2020, so that's a film I'd like to review sometime soon. But I found this entertaining enough, this film, and right at the end, there's like, because it is the end of an era, um, there's like, a look at the portrait of Dame Maggie Smith. She's an actor who was in it for, uh, I guess, for the Downton Abbey television series as well, but she certainly was in the films. And so there's a tribute. Her name's mentioned right at the end, and that's really sweet. And I thought it was a watchable enough film. I'm going to score it 7.75. It feels like, um, I mean, apart from the Noel Coward thing, there's not much in terms of LGBTQIA plus interest. That element does interest me. I find the history, that's the most interesting thing about this film. So um, that that's what entertained me throughout, and I liked it for that. I liked the acting. I liked the script. It was interesting enough to watch all round. I'd love to know what you think, whether you agree with my score, 7.75. If you've seen it, please like if you like this review. Um, Thanks if you subscribe. Please hit the notification button, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.